management in one product. So that's the beauty of it. Now we'll talk about the product solution architecture. I say it product and then solution because there are several products. There is ISIM and ISAM part of this solution. So it follows a standard supports 2 and 3 tier architecture. Here in the screen you can see there is an access agent sitting on the workstation for a user workstation. So this agent is running in the background, and it communicates with the identity and access manager servers. You have backend a directory server, you have database server, you have integrator to integrate with various adapters. You have TCR for collecting the data from various stores, data stores. It brings in and helps you generate the reports. So this is the overview of this architecture. It is scalable architecture. You can add more, you can scale it to number of servers horizontally, and you have high availability with help of WebSphere cluster, IDS replication. You can have DB to HADR. You can have AI, HECMP on AIX. You can have load balancing for each of the adapters. You communicate with the backend servers. In this case, you can see you have Linux host, and the TDI runs a ESSO adapter. So you could have several adapters. You can have a load balancer in front of these adapters so that it's highly available. You have from a security standpoint, sensitive data is encrypted. Communication between these components and from outside to the servers are secured over SSL. Now the other thing, good thing about it is extensibility. There are development kits, there are Access Studio tools which can help you integrate with various backend servers for provisioning, deprovisioning, for single sign-on automation. You can do integration with OTP server. You can have biometric integration. You could do all those things using the access profiles, studios. You can customize it. So that's the beauty of it. It doesn't just keep it, there are several out-of-box adapters and profiles. Beyond that, if there is a need, you still have, you can extend it to them. Now, let's talk about the configuration overview inside Privileged Identity Manager. So it's, most of us who have had experience with Identity Manager, the Tivoli Identity Manager, you would know that the concept is a bit similar to it. So here you have, let's say you have privileged users and you have the role owners. What you could do is you could create ISIM roles, access roles for each of these privilege credentials or the pools which you have defined. So it could be a domain administrator, or it could be a Windows local administrator. So it depends. So you can define these roles. You can have the shared access policies which you can map it. If, example, if a person is part of such a ISIM role, ISIM access role, he would get access to the credential or a credential pool. Now you could have the approval mechanism, which is part of workflow. You can tag it to the role owners. So it goes to the request, approval request for the role owners. Once they approve, the provisioning can happen, or the access is granted. Now here you can see you have a root as an individual or a privileged ID, which is a single privileged ID. Now this can be mapped with a role. You can do that. You can also create several set of privileged IDs. Let's say in this case we have 3 privileged IDs, part of privileged group, and those can be part of a credential pool, which will, so anyone who is having this role or here would get access to these IDs based on their availability. So that's the basic configuration overview, just to give an idea how it is inside. Okay, now let's go with a flow how the shared ID management works in IBM Privileged Identity Manager. So here is the legend. You have this C thing as a console. It's a RDP or a PuTTY in this case. AA is the ISAM access agent. We have the server which runs ISAM and ISAM, a web browser, notification via email, and the server application. Let's start. So there's a privileged user. He makes a request. He goes to this web browser and makes a request for a credential. So once the request is received, it goes to the approver. Approver then approves it. The response, it goes to his mailbox. He logs into that browser. He approves it. It goes back to the user in a notification saying the access is granted. I'm just considering a happy path here. So once the user gets a notification, he's going to go to that server using RDP or a PuTTY. So he opens that session and he types in the target server name. The moment he does that and hits connect, the access agent is going to intercept it. It's going to fetch the list of pools accessible to this user. So now once the user selects this list, he'll get a dialog saying, okay, to connect to these servers, these are the available pools for you, pool or credentials. So user can select one credentials based on his requirement. So he might want to log in as a domain administrator, or he might want to log in as a power user. So he will select the appropriate pool. The moment he selects, those credentials are fetched from the server and automatically injected into the RDP or the PuTTY or any other profile. It injects those credentials and the session is established. So now user can go in, do his activities, complete it, close the session. The moment he closes the session, the credentials are again checked in to the server. The moment credentials are checked in, now access agent does that on behalf of user. It checks in the credentials back to the server. The moment it happens, passwords for that privileged ID is changed automatically. That's the flow. Now the same thing what we just saw diagrammatically. Here is the PIM's web interface. It's a self-service interface where user gets to see the options. So here you see the screen where user makes a request access. The moment he clicks that, he gets list of pools. You see here domain admins underscore pool underscore access. Similarly, you have item admin privileged ID pool access. So user is going to click on one of them and he's going to request access. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it shows the process where he makes a request. So this is the request. Now in this case the request is submitted. Now the manager, he gets a notification via email, and when he logs in into the self-service interface, he's going to get the screen with an update saying there's a approval required. Manager logs in, he makes a request here, it's going to approve it or reject it with some comments, and then the approval status shows that he has approved it. Now user made a request, manager approved it. Now user is going to go in and check out the credentials. So he's going to use the credentials now. The approval process is one time. The check-in, check-out is going to continue as and when the user needs it to do his activities. So here he's going to click on checkout. He'll select the ID here. In this case, it's a AD service ID, item admin. He's going to select that, and he's going to give information. 1 minute. It's checkout information. Now here you can even customize it to add one more field to have ticket number. So you have complete continuity here. So I'm an administrator. I get a ticket to work on some activity. So what I could do is I could customize this form, a checkout form over here. I could add one field to provide ticket number. So this will help auditors to really have a continuity based on this ID, what request has been made and what server and why. The justification is there. So that's the beauty of this. So here the user gives a justification, he clicks on checkout. The moment he does the checkout, there's an option to see the password. Now this view password can be disabled or enabled. You could do that. But when it is in an automated way, the password can be made it to be disabled. But if in case there is no automation, like automated check-in, check-out, in that case you can you need this to be enabled. So that's the view password. You take the password. Once you are done, you do the activity, log into the server, do the activity, come back and click on check-in over here. So when you do the check-in, you select that ID and check-in. The moment you do that, the password is updated. That's all happens from manual standpoint. So here we will talk about automated check-in, check-out. The same thing, user opens a client application, access agent intercepts logon screen, queries PIM web service internally, and it pulls the list of credential pools. User selects the pool. The moment user selects the pool, access agent requests PIM service to retrieve credentials for that pool. So whichever ID is available in that pool is returned back. Using that, access agent is going to automatically fill these credentials to the user screen or the dialog. Once user closes the client session, the account is checked into the credential vault. So that's what happens in a high level. So here I have shown right side. So different models. So individual ID. So you have an individual ID. John Doe, he has his own individual ID, he has sudo to root. This results to identity proliferation. Second one, you have, John Doe gets access to root. Now, accountability is an issue. Now, in this case, you have automated login, access agent, injects the password, credentials. JDO does not know the password, so it's secure. So that's the way PIM works with the shared ID management, IDs, shared IDs basically. So now here at the bottom you can see the out-of-box access profiles. For remote desktops you have RDP, you have for terminal services you have PuTTY, SSH client, mainframes, you have IBM personal communicator or communication client, you have virtual machines, you have VMware, vSphere clients. So automatically it will help you log in and use the end systems. So this is the overview, the screenshot which shows the flow. Here is the screen, PuTTY session. User initiates the PuTTY session. Here is how it gets a pop-up. Says, do you want to use shared credentials? So now here is an option. You want to use shared credentials, you can use it. But if you want to use individual credentials, you can. Just click no and it prompts you to the regular. You just enter your user ID and password, individual ID and password, you continue. But otherwise, if you want to use shared credentials, you just click yes. It pulls a list of pools and user can select it. The moment user selects it, the credentials are injected and session is established. So that's how this is the flow for PuTTY. Same thing happens for other profiles, RDP and the other interfaces. So we are here now to talk about reports. These are standard reports. Plus we have these shared access reports. We have you can even customize it these are, as I said, TCR helps you customize. You could bring in, you can map it to different data sources, bring all those data in one place. It could be your access management data, your identity management data, your endpoint data. You can bring all those logs and informations through various data sources, put them in one place, and you can customize the reports and get the value out of it, and you can get some insight on the reports and take actions accordingly. So to summarize, generates an audit event when accounts are not checked in on time. So that's where I was talking about lease violations. Next, automatically logs all activities, which includes administrative activities like policy modifications and manual check-in, check-out. Logs all automatic check-in, check-outs and privileged user identities, both activities. Provides a comprehensive audit trail and reports for the privileged access. Organizations can search for and filter specific events or activities. Integrates with Security Information and Event Manager, CM solution. We talked about QRadar for end-to-end reporting, log correlation and forensic as an upgrade path. So that's an overview of reports.